So now that we're in the cockpit, again, my controllers are my hands. So in order to press any of the buttons, you can't just press them like this. There was a time when you could, before the 2.9 update in DCS, which I liked, but I'm actually liking this new idea better now because I can actually point at things and not even have to be up close to it. The way you hit these buttons and engage in here is you have to hit your, well, first you got to bring up your laser again, so you have to hit your palm trigger like that, and then you get your laser. So once you get your laser, you can actually, I can sit back in the cockpit and I can say, hey, let's put my ILS at 74, let's clear it, 74, enter, oops, and then turn it on. So you can do it that way, you can do it up here. You know, all these buttons work. If I want to come down here and jack with this, I can move my buttons. And again, with the laser, it's really slick. It's much easier. Now, with the buttons, or with the toggle like that, I can do two things. I can flip the switch this way, or I can use my mini thumb joystick on the controller itself, and I can select, I can point at it like this, and then use my thumb controller to make that work. Any of these buttons can be pressed. My flaps, launch bar, and again, I can either do it with by pressing the main trigger like that, or I can use my mini thumb joystick like that. My fuel probe, there it goes, and to bring it down. So that's how if I wanted to raise my canopy, there's my canopy going up. VR is really slick inside the aircraft. So there's my canopy is up, which is way cool. So if I'm going to grab the joystick, this is the way I fly. I reach out to my joystick, I press the trigger, the palm trigger, and it locks into the joystick like this. And then in my case, I have a custom-made rig that I slide my controller in while I'm pressing the palm trigger. I slide it in, and it keeps that button engaged. And then I just move my whole flight stick, and it flies like that. Same thing applies to the throttle. I press my palm trigger. I get it close. I put it over it. I press my palm trigger, and it grabs it, and then it works just like that. Again, the idea is with the controllers is you have to press your palm trigger to get the laser, and then you can point at what you want. Even if I want to be out here, I can point and have things, you know, move around the cockpit pretty easily. If I want to turn the dial, then I point at it, and then I use my mini thumb controller to spin it. As you can see, that's how that works. Here it is with my other hand. And again, that's the palm. I'm pointing at it with the palm trigger. That creates the laser, and then I use my mini joystick to turn the dial. It's way cool, man. I'm telling you, this is the way to go. I don't have a HOTAS, so I didn't spend all that extra money. And then as far as the joystick or the flight stick goes, for me, I want my flight stick to actually, on my rig, to actually represent what the aircraft is like. So as you can see, in the aircraft, it's got a long base all the way down to the floor, to the base of the aircraft, and that's how mine is set up. It gives me that authentic feel of being in the F-18 or in a Huey, in a helicopter. Most of those go all the way to the bottom. Most of the older aircraft have a very similar setup like this. So this is really what I enjoy. A lot of people ask me, well, why don't you just buy a HOTAS? Well, first of all, they cost an arm and a leg, and you have to buy the extension. So for me, this works just as fine, and it gives me the freedom to actually fly it like a pilot would, because I can use my hands in the actual aircraft without having to build this whole display in the real world. You know, it didn't cost me hardly anything to do what I'm doing. All right, guys, so I hope it made sense to you as far as all this goes.